Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
And so the drum beat goes on. The macabre dance that is Nigeria never ceases to amaze. Akin Fatunke is my name. I'm a practitioner in oil and gas in the past 30 years. Before those 30 years, part of what we met on the ground was a checkered history of troubled oil on waters or water on troubled oil. We've never been able to get it straight and on. In 2024, I am still reading and I'm still being told that the marketers, after the to and fro, some 2 steps forward and 24 steps backwards that we've had in the downstream segment of the oil and gas industry. It's not as if the upstream has been any better, but in the downstream where we talk about the issue of petrol or no petrol, and Dangote came on stream, and then we started seeing different versions of the worst, in my opinion, of mankind. Dangote cannot be a monopolist. Dangote could not be everywhere. We are NNPC. We are the regulators. We are saying that the sulfur content of the diesel in Dangote is not friendly. And you begin to now wonder, in a country over 200 million, of which, and please take this from me, substantial population of Nigerian men and women, especially the youth segments, are making waves in Petrobras, are making waves in Saudi Aramco, are making waves all over the world, where a coterie of Nigerian youths are now being retained by the American government in the franking business, solving and resolving issues for the whole wide world. Back in my country, who has caused us Nigerians? What is this? Because that takes me back in time to about 15, 20 years ago. I was at an international conference then, by way of disclosure, I used to work in ExxonMobil in the downstream, and an issue arose whereby I got into an international conference. We had the CNNs, and then we have the local versions, which I support more than international, and the BBC, and all cameras were gazed on us. And it was revealed at that conference for the very first time, and takes you back to the history, that NNPC at that time was now going to morph into NNPCL, whereby they will now begin to build stations. And I don't have a problem if that is what the strategic intent was going to be in answer to how we have mismanaged the industry. Reason being that the major oil marketers, that man, the depot manufacturers, and then so many others have taken their hands off, and they said they could not continue to import, basically because of exchange rate differentials, flats, which is the dollar denomination that tells you how much crude is going to be sold out there. We didn't even know what we were producing and all that. And so things were diving downwards, and we were paying trillions in subsidies. We didn't have energy sufficiency. It was just not there. And then what was the answer? We had to deregulate diesel. At the time that the late, Yaradua was coming in, the Blue Circle Consortium, comprising Dangote and Otedola, had paid humongous amount of money to Nigerian government in the twilight of the Obasanjo administration, that they were going to, to look at some of the refineries. My company was approached And the idea was for us to give concrete advice to government. Chief Samurai of the ExxonMobil at that time, Rex Tillerson, who became the Secretary of State to Donald Trump during his first sitting, came to Nigeria. And we all found ourselves with Obasanjo. And we told Obasanjo straight-facedly that the refineries are sitting on a bed of oil. It's an euphemism to say that, look, it's been run aground. And for you to want to do anything in modern Nigeria, you have to do a lot of remediation that will cost perhaps the whole of Nigeria. So look, the way we are looking at it, that the refineries were worth nothing, sell it and let's bring our own investment, revamp, and then move forward. Shortly after that, Nigerian Labour Congress came out and said, yeah, we are selling our national assets. The whole set of people. And Yar'Adua has to reconsider and repaid bodies that has been paid to what Dangote eventually many years down later single-handedly have done. So we have run our refineries, we keep on paying, we keep on doing so many things that are very corruptive. Where did that take us? After huge amount of money that has been wasted, that keeps on being wasted with vested interests in NNPC, and like I said, at that international conference, I raised my finger and I said, I don't see some things happening. That Chelsea and Man City wants to play. And according to the rule of football, there has to be a referee. And suddenly we go to the field of play and the referee decided to join one side against the other. I mean, is that an even playing field? So I raised my finger and said, I don't understand what is going on here. And I said, okay, is NNPC now going to be an oil marketer? So who will now go to be regulating? Who will now be regulating the whole of us, including NNPC itself? That cost us not just our reputation. It became the downturn for ExxonMobil that eventually exited Nigeria. And I said, it cannot happen. Well, down the line, we've been proving that yes, that has happened. And NNPC now became the regulator, and so many things got on in there. At the time of Obasanjo, you remember, it was the oil and gas minister. The only exception we had was during Jonathan's time, who had an oil and gas minister who was even much more stronger than him himself. So we have run ourselves to the ground. Dangote came with a license and with private investment to erect the refinery that cost more than 20 billion. Went to consortiums and built one of the best that we have in the world. That was going to serve as a competition to many refineries of the world that are now closing down. One hand we now find fine. NNPC was part of it. At one point in time, we had 20% stake. At another point, we are not going to be part of 20% stake. At another point, we are going to make sure that we supply crude. Today, it's been completed, and NNPC is going there. NNPCL is going to this refinery to go lift crude. They say it's about 800. Their lifting will be sold 900 plus in Lagos and then outside Nigeria. Trying to confuse issues. Why would you not allow marketers to go in there? Go pick. If there is not a pick rates, I think there's more than a lot to hide. So like me, that I asked that critical question, that I cannot understand why the referee will join the other side, then we are not we are not working the markets. Shortly after that, the first contaminated fuel came to this country, has repeated itself about two years ago. It's likely to repeat itself as we move forward. Planes were coming down because we are mixing diesel and we are mixing kerosene and we are calling it jet one fuel. What kind of country will you call that? And they are still waiting for us to open. Now the marketers say they want to start to import because the energy sufficiency is not be plugged. So the marketers now bring in Again, they are part of the Makaba dance. They bring in going to use their hard-earned currency with the vagaries that we have in the foreign exchange market. Are they going to be given special allocation? Because by the time you begin to put all these little interventions, what will happen will still be the corruption, PLC, still moving through the roof. Okay, so you now bring it. Takes me to Mrs. Okojo-Iweala, who was the coordinating minister under Jonathan, and then, politics was going to move her into foreign exchange. I remember a meeting we held with Mrs. Okojo-Iweala. And by the way, Mrs. Okojo-Iweala nearly lost her life. Go read her book on all these shenanigans that we have in the downstream. In fact, on her way out, she had gone to meet President Jonathan that, look, the oil marketers are saying they are being owed so much. Well, some other persons, according to what we had allegedly, went to Jonathan and said, look, better don't answer them. We have men and boys in the oil and gas industry. And in exasperation, she had to leave. She wanted to unplug. And so give a free rein. What Bola Tinubu has made an attempt to do is to recognize that we have those problems. Implementation became an issue, and we are not seeing ourselves leading by example. Because of that, the marketers are now coming back. Are they going to be given free will to now sell at their prices? If the answer is no, then we are still back to square one. So, I also make this allusion. When you have a William Tell or a Robin Hood, for those who may not know, William Tell and Robin Hood were bad men. That's what we call them in cowboy movies of those days. They are bad men. They are really bad men. Somewhere along the line, like Paul on his way to Damascus, decided to see light and then decided that, look, I don't want to continue to do bad. I will use all the instruments of coercion and force that I have to plunder the rich and give to the poor. That is what I thought was going to happen. I'm not saying Dangote is an all saint, but the guy has done all the things he needs to do. The fear that is going to be an alternate government, and he is going to be like the crown princes of Saudi Arabia, and he will make and unmake. Again, let's be careful. This guy, as much as you say you don't trust him, but he holds the instruments to be able to help repair Nigeria, repair West Africa, repair the whole of the African continent. And the predators who are not just the ones sitting in Nigeria and the one outside Nigeria will do everything to try and frustrate. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, two things I plead. You are the current Minister for Oil and Gas. You need to relinquish that position right like yesterday. Or should I even say day before yesterday? You have to have the legacy to now help us to put right people in right holes. You need to have that legacy of now leading by example and help us that the Robin Hood that we find here, that will give the better life to the better majority of Nigerians, should be allowed to breathe. Allegations are flying here and there. They remain allegations. And the Commander-in-Chief, please do all that is needful to make an open playing field. Somebody is going to ask me, so what are we now then going to say? We are going to say, if we begin to lead by this example, some people will also tell me that go back to the Patokan refinery, go back to this, and those refineries have been run to the ground. It's the reason why they've been line upon line upon line and all that. Say the truth to Nigerians and do a proper negotiation, sovereign negotiation. Recognize Dangote for what he is worth. Asking Dangote to sell below 850 is asking him to sell below the cost of production. It's not going to happen. Nobody is going to allow that to. And if you don't want Dangote, then go look for your own funds and go and do your own refinery so that you can serve as competition. To the extent that this is not coming to to fall. Let's recognize humanities. Let's recognize something that happens to Abacha. Abacha had the whole of the powers of nearly life and death, but suddenly he slept and did not wake up. We all will find a situation where we may say we have power that is transient, but let's use it for the vast majority of our people. Because if we don't do it, the end governance protests is still very fresh. At the back of NSAS, we may find a situation where the poor are just waiting to swallow the rich. And don't kid. I'm not going to kid myself. I'm not going to kid Nigerians. I'm not going to kid anybody. No matter where you want to run to, even if you choose to run to hell or run to heaven, you are going to be brought back to come and answer for all these queries. Is it not better we do it now? Let's listen to the patriots. Nigeria is not working. Let's restructure Nigeria. Let's get ourselves back to understanding the fact that we have different tongues of different tribes and different persuasion. All the concentration at the center. Obasanjo is at the center. Tinubu is at the center. Peter Obi should come to the center. Atiku Abubakar is going to come to the center. You cannot take a decision to wear a rough jacket and you think you are going to be straight. We must get Nigeria back into winning ways. Recognize that we are different, like I said. Get back to that holistic statement made by Amadu Bello to his friend and brother Nnamdi. Nnamdi, don't say we should forget our differences. Let's recognize we have them and find a way to look through them. You have to loosen a little bit so that we decide what is going to go to center as we had before, or some other contraption. The way this constitution that we have and this set of people that we have is going, we are not getting anywhere. And until we get that politics straight, the NNPC, the cash cow, will always continue to be very inefficient. Security will continue to be inefficient. Health sector, SDG goals, there are 17 of them, including our politics, will always continue to show red. A word will be enough for the wise. Politicians, learn to listen. And opposing politicians, learn to also listen so that it will not be had I known. I will begin to bite our fingers. I believe in Nigeria. I trust Nigeria can make a force for good if we all come together and choose to do what is right. Thank you.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.